we're Danielle and Kavanch, and we've spent the last year of 2021 sailing our boat CB all around beautiful Croatia. Well, it's time to say goodbye and now venture out and explore some other countries in the Med. Previously on CB Sailing, we departed Croatia and left the country. Coming up on this episode, we're making our way and passage over to Montenegro.
We are approaching Montenegro, so right behind that point is the Bay of Kotor, and the land that you see behind me is still Croatia, so we have to clear that point before we change our flag to Montenegrin flag and raise our courtesy flag. So we're gonna turn to port, go to the customs, and hopefully clear the customs without problems.
As we were approaching customs in Montenegro, we got a very warm welcome from the crew on Black Pearl. As soon as they saw CB and they noticed our hailing port, San Francisco, they started playing the San Francisco song by Scott McKenzie. Now, Black Pearl happens to be one of the world's largest sailboats. And the Black Pearl has welcomed us.
I think Porto Montenegro has been a little bit of a disappointment for me. I believe I had little high expectations, and my experience here is fine, it's okay, but really it's not a big deal unless you are into seeing luxury yachts, luxury apartments, luxury restaurants, and luxury people. So our first impression here was one of the advantages of being here is if you come to Porto Montenegro and this is your first check-in point, you do not need to go to the customs office. You can actually come here directly and they will check you in at the marina, which is a great service. But when we arrived a week ago, we had to radio them maybe 5 times and there's no one at the customs office, and finally they came out. They were really helpful. They did everything for us, and I'm glad and I'm grateful, but I was kind of expecting a little more than that. And the second thing that happened was, by the time we finished our paperwork, the crosswind started picking up, and by the time we get to our dock, it was probably 15 to 20 knots crosswinds. And from the videos that I seen on YouTube, I was expecting some kind of a tender to come over and lead me into my slip and help me out with my bow. And none of that happened. And we had a little bit of a scene in front of one of those luxury restaurants, and then entertained people. Other than that, the internet sucks here. It drops all the time. But if these things are not important to you, it's a nice marina. They have nice facilities here. The toilets and showers are clean. They're new, and the scenery is kind of blah to me, in a sense that it's not a historic town. There is no charm into it. Everything is like new development here, which is fine for some. But if I'm traveling, one of the reasons that I'm traveling is to see different places. This looks like, quite honestly, it looks like one of the shopping strips in California, especially the one that we live close by, called Emerville or Walnut Creek, with all the luxury brands right next to each other. Okay, enough of this. So we rented a car, I think it was yesterday, and we drove around. I think the highlight of this place is the little town called Kotor, and I have some videos of that too. And we climbed the wall up there, and we went there actually twice. It's a beautiful little charming town. It's well protected. It's like a mini Dubrovnik. But if you're coming over here, I suggest that you don't miss Kotor. We also went to another city called Budva, which was cool and nice, little too developed, but they did protect that little downtown area too, the old town Budva, so it was kind of cool. And then we went to a smaller town called Perast yesterday, and I will add those videos to this, so you guys have an idea of what I'm talking about. Now,
We are here in Montenegro. We finally said goodbye to Croatia. We left Dubrovnik yesterday and we arrived. Right now we are in the town of
Kotor.
Kotor, thank you. It's very beautiful. As you can see behind, there's a big cruise ship that's in town, and we're on this hike that's gonna go all the way up to, if you can see it, yes, perfect, to a monastery up there and some more spectacular views. The Bay of Kotor is the largest bay on the entire Adriatic coast. This bay is actually a river canyon immersed into the sea. This whole area is dramatic and absolutely stunning, with the high mountains surrounding this narrow bay. It's also interesting to note Kotor Old Town is the most well-preserved medieval city in all of the Mediterranean. And because of this, the entire city of Kotor is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's really kind of like an open-air museum, filled with churches, palaces, just so much history everywhere you turn. You will also find the narrowest street in the world here, or so they say, with the name Let Me Pass. It is so narrow that it's difficult for two people to pass. One of the most popular things to do when visiting Kotor is to hike up to St. John's Fortress. This is what we did, and the hike is not easy, especially in the heat, but it's extremely rewarding with the most incredible views from the top. We decided to rent a car for a couple days and explore a little bit of Montenegro. Our first stop was Budva. The Budva Riviera runs along the Adriatic Sea and is the main tourist attraction for Montenegro. This area is mostly known for its crowded beaches. One interesting thing we learned as we were there was you can actually walk the entire Budva Riviera along the shore, as all the beaches are connected by paths, tunnels, and bridges. This area is also known for its lively nightlife. In fact, the biggest nightclub in all of the Balkans is located on a mountain near the popular resort town of Budva. We spent most of our time exploring the Budva Old Town, which is actually over 2,500 years old and one of the oldest settlements along the Adriatic coast. Budva Old Town is very well preserved. It's encircled by a fortress wall built by the Venetians, and for just about €2, you can walk the walls and get some great views of the old town and the surrounding sea. Once inside the walls, you'll find yourself in a delightful town with narrow cobblestone streets dotted with souvenir shops, cafes, and bars, as well as several museums and churches. Perast is located about 20 minutes northwest of Kotor, and at one time it was a great naval force in the region by the Venetians. It's also noted for its proximity to the islands of St. George and Our Lady of the Rocks. St. George has a Benedictine monastery located on it, and there's a Catholic church and museum found on Our Lady of the Rocks. The island of Our Lady of the Rocks was formed artificially, starting from one large stone in the water. According to legend, the icon of the Virgin Mary was found by a local seaman on July 22nd, 1452. After this discovery, more rocks were added by sinking and piling up captured ships with rocks. In present time, there is a big holiday on July 22nd, where all the local people pay tribute to this tradition. They sail to the island by boats and throw stones into the water. Now, compared to Kotor, Perast is much smaller and far more laid back. It contains a few shops, churches, a beautiful bell tower, and some very nice restaurants along the waterfront, as well as a few hotels.
That is enough of Montenegro. So our plan is to leave tomorrow to head down to Corfu, Greece. And I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time I'm actually really nervous about this because it's about 200 nautical miles. You're not going to stop in Albania, so it's going to get a direct shot from the Kotor Bay all the way down to Greece. So again, it's about 200 nautical miles, and we will planning on spending 2 nights on sea. So if you guys have not been following us, we have never done an overnight at sea, so it's going to be a double overnight. The winds are okay. They may be a little light, but Wednesday around noon there are strong winds coming up, so I want to be able to go into Corfu before noon Wednesday. So we will likely leave tomorrow, which is Monday, around noon here, and arrive in Corfu around 9 o'clock in the morning, if everything goes according to the plan. We are getting ready to depart from Porto Montenegro and Montenegro as a country overall. So our first stop is the fuel dock, which is located right over here. At this point we are on sea dock over here. So we're gonna motor down to the fuel dock, and after that we're gonna go to the customs office and clear the customs. The reason they want us to go to the fuel dock first is once you clear from the customs, you will not be able to stop here, so you'll have to leave the country. This is it. We just said goodbye to Montenegro. We got fueled and we checked out. The paperwork was really smooth. I think part of it is being a guest at Porto Montenegro, they do have a yacht assist, where all the customs and immigration and harbor master office is. So you meet with a host there, and they take you one by one to the places that you need to go and get your stamps and all the approvals in place and in the paperwork in place. So we were in and out of there maybe for like I think maybe 10-15 minutes tops, and now we are on our merry way to Corfu, Greece.
It's even better somewhere close about. Ooh, let's find out. I know I never felt this way. People change, but it feels like we stay the same. Every time you look at me, I'm heating up at least a third degree.